Hey yo! Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. And today we're going to be doing Batman Night Cries. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, Batman Night Cries is a story that tries to tackle with a very difficult and taboo subject, and that subject being child abuse. Now, child abuse is probably one of the most despicable, horrible, absolutely heinous crimes out there. It's probably the worst crime that could ever be committed. And being that is a very difficult and fragile topic to talk about and to write about, whether it be in comics, in books, in television, or any form of media in that matter. It's just a very fragile, difficult issue to deal with, because it is such a horrible crime. Now, Batman Night Cries tries to deal with that issue, and it does so by not pulling any punches whatsoever, but not crossing any lines either. See, Batman Night Cries deals with all forms of child abuse, whether it be physical, mental, sexual, or any other form of child abuse for that matter, but it doesn't cross any lines in going into the very fragile areas of child abuse that you really shouldn't get into. Now, the basic story in Batman Night Cries is that there's a vigilante going around Gotham and killing adults who have abused children in some way, shape, or form, and killed them in a manner that's symbolic to the way that they abused the child. Now, see, the problem with this is, well, one, you just can't go around and dish out your own brand of justice, no matter who you are. The Batman knows this best. The other thing is that the kids are believing that it's actually Batman doing these crimes. But it's not. It's someone else. Batman and Commissioner Gordon have to team up together and find who this vigilante is and take them down before any more lives are taken out. At the same time, both Commissioner Gordon and Batman need to deal with their own personal demons. Gordon in particular, who, if you did not know, was actually a recipient of child abuse. His father beat him every once in a while, and this kind of reflects on Gordon's relationship with his son, because he often has anger issues with his son and finds himself very difficultly restraining himself from ever laying a hand on his son. Thank God Commissioner Gordon does not do such a thing, but it's still a difficult issue which causes a wedge in his marriage and which eventually leads to the divorce between him and his wife Barbara. Now, I'm not going to give you too much about the story. That's about the basis of it. So let's get into the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Right before we get into the good and the bad, I should point out that this story takes place in the early part of Batman's career, someplace after Batman Terror, because it's right where Jim Gordon gets promoted to commissioner. His first marriage is failing, and basically it's just the early career of Batman. So this fits snugly right after Batman Terror. So on to the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. Well, the first good thing is, like I said, this deals with the issue of child abuse, and it deals with it in a very mature manner. It doesn't pull any punches. This deals with the full spectrum of child abuse, but at the same time, it does not cross that line that you should not cross. For example, a sexual child abuse is referenced in this story, but it's not actually went into full detail, which is a very smart maneuver, because that's not something that we want to read about. So the subject of child abuse is dealt with in a very mature, safe manner, but at the same time also being smart about what they're saying in here. In addition to that, this has a very serious and dark tone, as it should, because you're dealing with such a difficult issue in that. It's a very, very dark, gritty story, which really makes you feel depressed, and you should, because this is not a good topic. I've said this over and over again. Child abuse is a horrible thing, and they really make you feel, I want to say, depressed when reading it. The art helps that too. Another good about this is the art. It's not actually drawing illustrations, rather it's paintings, and these paintings are, well, not the best paintings I've ever seen, and I wouldn't put this on my top art list. The paintings work well with the story itself, because they're very bold, very gripping, and I want to say almost macabre. They're very, very dark, and they really set the tone for the story, and it makes you feel more depressed than you actually probably would if, say, George Perez did the art. So the art is very, very gripping. So those are two good about this. It handles the issue of child abuse very well, without crossing any lines. And at the same time, the art is very gripping too. Commissioner Gordon is also portrayed as probably, I like to think, the best character, because he's a character that comes full circle here. He tackles his demons where Batman still can't tackle his demons. This is where Batman starts to realize that his war on crime will never end. It's a losing battle where people are going to die. This is where Batman probably starts his dark roots. Bad about this story. Well, bad about this story is that there really is no story. Although they handle the issue of child abuse very well, there's really no story whatsoever. There's a lot of dialogue, there's a lot of talking, but for an actual story, it really doesn't pick up until the end. So the story is very lacking in that. However, this isn't a book that you pick up for the story. Whether or not you should get it, Batman Night Cries I would recommend, and I would recommend it to a more mature audience. I have never been subjugated to child abuse whatsoever. I have never had to deal with it personally. However, I know a lot of people in my life who have, friends and very close acquaintances who have dealt with child abuse at some point in their life. So I have kind of an idea of just how horribly it can affect someone, how much it could leave that lasting impression on them. So in saying that, this is not a book for younger readers. This is a book for older adults who understand the topic, who are mature enough that can read the topic and know what's being talked about here. This is even a difficult review for me because this is such a taboo topic. But I would recommend Batman Night Cries. I wouldn't put it on the top of your Batman stories to read, but if you have an extra few dollars, I recommend buying it on Amazon for about $4. You can get it hardcover or softcover. Either way, it doesn't much matter. I got the hardcover because I got it for Christmas. Not the best Batman story, but it really does send out a powerful message. And like I said again, child abuse is a horrible, horrible crime and should never, ever, ever, ever happen. If you know someone that is being affected by child abuse, speak up, help them out, do whatever you can, because it's just horrible. So with that said, I'm going to end this review here. Batman Night Cries. Pick it up if you get a chance. Definitely for a more mature audience. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.